Okay, Ottoman versus JD. Ottomans have always been a counter civ to French, and JD is a variant civ from the French. So you would think that Ottoman actually counter JD, and they do to some extent, but you have to consider some things that are important in this matchup. So first things first, you might be forced to fight in feudal, and that's where Ottomans are pretty good, and where Ottomans have always been a counter to French. But you have to consider that for every fight that you take, you will be giving JD experience. And if JD reaches level 3, it's over for you. As an Ottoman player, game is over for you. Okay, there's no way you're gonna kill JD. Not with Sipahi, not with Spearmen, not with archers. Okay, so in my experience, what I would do as Ottoman, I would go fast castle, or maybe not fast castle, like without any units, not naked, but produce the minimum amount of units to defend my base, to defend my resources, my gold mine, my berries, whatever I need to defend my base, and transition to castle as soon as I can. Because if I do that, playing with crossbowmen will allow me to snipe JD. Before that, again, you don't want to be fighting. You don't want to be giving experience to JD. Another thing that I could do, since I'm opening military school, of course, this first spearman is going to go straight to my opponent's base to harass, obviously, like we always do when playing Ottomans. Now, after that, I might as well pull a couple villagers or 2 or 3 spearmen that I'm going to have standing there by my base, and go kill the boar. I can do that, okay? Because boars, as you guys know, provide 25 experience to JD. So if you can deny that boar, that's going to be good for you, okay? Front goal, that's good for you. That first spearman is on his way, okay. Let's speed up things here a little bit. I'm assuming that the build order is just fine. 9. I think you have to send more villagers onto food, okay? Look at that. You already have the gold, but you're missing a little bit of food, right? So send as many villagers as needed until you hit feudal. Well, not until you hit feudal, until you get the resources for feudal. And after that, you reorganize your eco, sending leaving 4 villagers on food and sending the rest onto wood. All right, and also 3 onto stone to start getting ready for that feudal. Right, getting some military buildings out, and again, just defending in this case. Maybe harassing a little bit with Sipahi. That would be a good option too. Okay, here goes the spearman. This is a lot of time that you're not harassing, that you've invested into getting that spearman out. You see? And he's gathering a lot of... Look at that. Look at that. Boop, 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 boop. Now it's too late, right? Now it's too late. You gotta if you're gonna open military school, I mean, I always open military school with Ottomans, even if I'm playing against English or Rus. But especially when playing against JD and having this front gold mine, you want to be active here. You want to put your eyes on this gold mine, and as soon as the spearman reaches the enemy base, start harassing, right? You don't want to waste any time here. And where's the second one? Okay. So you never place these landmark next to berries. Never do that. Why? Well, because of this, right? Villagers, even if you send villagers to get grab berries from this bush, they're gonna be, once they're done with that one, they're not gonna move on to the next one from the landmark. They're gonna jump onto the normal berries, which gathering rate is lower. So always build this landmark on the right side, right? On the right side of the TC, always, and far from berries. If berries happen to be here, then build it here, right? Or build it here, but never close to berries. Okay, you're feudal. Now, you still have 3 villagers on gold, and I don't think you need villagers on gold at all. Unless you're planning to go for very early upgrades, which, well, maybe you are. Okay. Let's see what you do with that gold. Because you're like... I mean, you're keeping 3 villagers on gold, and this could be a lot of food that you need. You have plenty of wood. What's your plan? What's your plan? Like... It's in base at that point. I thought I'd better hold on to them and not lose them. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Nice early walls. We saw these on the last coaching session. Well, the first one from you. Early walls are very, very useful against JD or French. So don't be afraid of putting down a couple walls here and there in the early stages, because that's going to keep them from... that's going to prevent them from raiding your economy. And if JD doesn't get kills early on, just as French, it's not like they're behind, but they kind of are, right? They have to make use of those expensive units that they're getting out. Be very careful. Yeah, I was going to say, be very careful. Like, he's not going to be afraid. If you want to build that tower over here, you have to first scare those knights away. If you place your villagers here, he's not going to give any fucks. Like, he's gonna charge with those knights, and he doesn't care. If he gets 1 kill, that's good for him. So you're gonna scare those knights off first with your spearmen, and later, after that, build the tower, but not the other way around. And if he has archers, then you just can't build that tower. Okay, you have to resign to that position and search for another stone mine in case you need it. You don't really need another stone mine because you have 200 stone already, so that allows you to get feudal military school and the extra one that you're going to get from the Vizier Point later on. So you don't really need more stone here. You didn't really need that tower.
Yeah, what I thought of my thoughts about this game were that I should start and go for second TC, because JD masses a lot of knights and a lot of archery behind her, and I saw that it's a trend right now that people don't play melee JD anymore, the Cav JD, and they go for the markswoman JD, and I thought that I definitely need to boom first in order for me to be able to produce the Janissaries, which are pretty expensive, and the man-at-arms to sit in front of the Janissaries that are going to pretty much kill everything.
Okay, but the thing is that as Ottomans, you are already booming by adding military schools. Okay, by adding military schools, you're getting a lot of free resources. So there's no real need for you to go for a second TC when your opponent is sitting on 1. Like, it is your opponent, the one who has to go for a second TC. If he wants to reduce the difference, because you're going to be getting resources from your villagers just like he is, but also you're going to be getting resources from those military schools. So if there's someone who has to go for a second TC, that's the French player, not you. Okay. And definitely not like this, not naked, because you're delaying. If that was your purpose, going for a second TC, you're delaying your second TC ages now. Like, it's a minute 7 and 30 second. Like, obviously this guy's gonna be by your door. How are you planning to defend with a couple of spearmen? No, you can't do that. Like, you either go for a second TC like right away without even a military school, go for a second TC right away, or you will have to produce units and defend that stone mine, and then later on go for that second TC. But for now, you can't do that. Okay. So now change of plans. Also, quick tip for everyone: you can target units with your TC or tower or castle. So here, if he dives like this, my TC might be attacking one of the knights. I want my TC to be attacking JD, okay? So that if he commits too much, JD dies. And if JD dies, he will have to pay 250 gold for her to come back. See, like, I have a lot of wood, a lot of gold, a lot of stone. I'm not making use of my resources. I don't have any units to defend. What am I going to do now? I mean, I can go back, take some sheep, etc. But I'm going to be held in my base for God knows how long now. It would have been better next time. It would have been better. Even if you want to go for that second TC, you still have to produce. I mean, you have to produce units. I would suggest you added a stable here and a blacksmith. Produce some sipahi and started raiding. Like the French player will probably go out for food. Okay, deer up north, deer over here. Once he runs out of food, in his base. So those sipahi raids can be very effective and keep him distracted while behind that you go for a second TC. But again, have you seen my last Byzantine game, the last one that I played?
Yes.
Today? You saw that I added a second TC? You saw that? But it was a late second TC. I wanted to put pressure. I wanted to force my opponent to build to get some units, keep him in base, raid, get some kills. Okay? And after that, I went for a second TC. But once I had my economy secured and I had my enemy in his base. So you got to do the same thing. Okay, your scout has to be searching, tracking his army, okay? Your scout has to be tracking his army, especially if you have exposed resources like this one, like gold. If you don't have a tower to protect your resources, then you have to be tracking his army to prevent these kind of raids. Especially maps like this where everything is like in this square. Like your whole economy is here. And everything is very open. Like you can really place walls around. I mean, you could place this one because they're very short walls. But what about this one? Like you can really defend this with walls.
Yeah, I pretty much lost all the map. I simply turtled up in my own base. Took like 90% of the map was his. And I couldn't get out. That because I'm bad, not because he would have been the best player or something.
Sipahi is Ottoman's best early unit. I would always make some of those. Yeah, Sipahi are very strong. And good raiders. So now, change of plans. Okay, change of plans. We add another military school. We could have done this before. Like the moment we see... I mean, no, you didn't change plans actually. But you're stacking a lot of wood. You're stacking a lot of wood. Add stuff around, okay? You can go down to 400 wood. And you will still have enough wood for that second TC. So add some stuff around. Add archery ranges. Add I don't know, stable for those sipahi. Also,
yeah, that is the moment I started producing. I started building production buildings.
Okay. Also, as soon as you hit feudal, you want to switch your military schools onto sipahi. Okay, because sipahi are the more expensive unit. And you're going to need them anyways, right? Your army comp is going to be spearmen and sipahi. That's going to be your army comp against his army comp, which is going to be knights and archers. Your army comp is going to be way easier to manage in micro. His army comp is going to be way harder to micro. Okay.
Yeah, I usually switch them just like you say to sipahi and also one military school for Mechter. But now I thought that the spearman would be the better choice as I try to defend myself. I didn't thought about attacking him.
Never. I mean, you have to go spearman, but not too many at the beginning because JD has like bonus against spearman. So, and if she queues, she's gonna take like 25% your HP from all of your spearmen. So you're gonna be very careful with the amount of spearmen that you produce early on. Okay, I feel like you should be defending with maybe a few spearmen, some archers, maybe not even archers, just a few spearmen, and then getting sipahi raids done. Okay, he can really, I mean, he's not going to dive you. He shouldn't be diving you. I mean, it's made 850, right? So with a bunch of spearmen here and your TC, you can defend. You only need to send some sipahi out and raid. Quick tip here. If you guys want to know if your opponent is out on deer or out on the boar, well, he killed the boar.
Yeah, he killed the boar and he killed also the boar on my side. I saw him doing that for the experience on JD.
If you guys want to know whether your opponent is on deer or not, or the boar or not, just go onto the deer like this. And if you see all of them alive, like those 7 deer alive, then you know he's not there. If you see like 1 or 2 missing, then you can assume that he has a mill here and a few villagers. So that's a potential raid right there.
On the same note, also, it works with the relics. If you have a monk and you try to click the relic and it doesn't show the specific thingy, then it means it's taken, right?
Yeah. I mean, the relics usually disappear from the map.
I've had game intended mechanics from Relic. Let's not call them bugs when the Relic didn't disappear.
Okay. How to defend this? Adding a short wall over here. Look at the TC range. If he gets any closer here, my TC is going to shoot at him, right? And you have to be very, pay attention to this. Because the moment this guy's getting to my TC range, I'm going to garrison my villagers and he's going to take a lot of damage. Okay, you're going to be playing with the TC. Then add a short wall over here so that if he wants to raid, he has to come this way, right? Around the wall. So that's going to take him longer. And he's going to be exposed to the TC fire for a longer time.
That's exactly what I did, you'll see.
Okay.
Because you told me something like this before and I kept in mind.
Okay, good job. Good job. Now, you have plenty of stone, plenty of wood. You're not utilizing your resources. Where do you want to place your second TC? You should go for... I mean, you always want to place your second TC. Okay, that's like the only option that you have, actually. But you should always try to place your second TC on top of a food source. Deer, berries, boar. If you can manage to do that, then one of the best options is next to your gold mine. And if you can't either, well, then just place it here. Or by the wood line. By the wood line is also a good option. Actually, this is not the greatest option because he could deny it. I don't know why he's not denying. He's not because he's not seeing it. But if he had his scout over here, he would have seen these. And he would have denied this 100%. So if there's no other safe place to add your TC, I suggest you put it by the wood line, next to the wood line. Why? Because it is in range of the TC, so he won't be able to deny it.
Yeah, I gambled with it because I thought that once I managed to get it up, I would actually be able to use it also to protect my production buildings, so he couldn't go in them and destroy them.
This happened because he saw your TC, you were building the TC, but if he had spotted your TC being built, he would have killed your villagers, he would have cancelled that TC, and that would have been game.
Yeah, I know.
Again, always remember that you can focus fire, target fire with the TC and the tower and everything. So, your spearmen want to be tracking down, want to be chasing down those knights. Your TC, your tower, want to be attacking archers in the back lane. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Because knights take very little damage from arrows. So there's no point in the TC attacking those knights. It is much better if the TC / tower, whatever, attacks those archers. And my spearmen take care of the knights. Okay, let's speed it up. This is very risky. Note that he has archers. He can just place some archers here and kill some villagers. And he's actually going in there. No.
Yeah, he's coming for it, but I thought that I could also buy myself some time and also try to build a third TC since I had so many resources and so many villagers now, and cover the gold in my base. But I could use this as a decoy, and if it doesn't go for the decoy, then it's good for me because I take the gold.
Okay, I think that you're going for that. I mean, you're building that triple TC because you find yourself with a lot of stone, right?
Yes.
Okay, just save that stone. Don't waste it, because especially when you see him going castle, just cancel that, put your villagers back to work, and save that stone for another military school. Okay, if he now pushes with men at arms, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. And this triple TC is only going to delay your castle age timing. Why? Because you're going to be producing out of 3 TC, right? So that's an extra 50 food every 20 seconds that you're not going to be able to stack to get to castle age. Okay, and if you don't produce villagers from this third TC, then what's the point of building a TC? I never noticed Deer's would disappear in the fog of war. See how much you learn here in the coaching sessions tour.
You are right. I thought about that for TC since I had so many resources that I could use it to protect the gold and also be able to mine it in order to go castle.
Yeah, just think about think about the amount of food that you're consuming here, right? That you're spending here on that triple TC. A lot of villagers. Look at that. This is 4, 8, 11. That's 550 food. You would be close to Castle H, to having the resources for Castle H. So be very careful here. Okay,
Yes.
let's go back to the game. Adding another military school. That's nice. Is it in rain? Okay, you're adding another blacksmith. Okay, okay. Oh, also build a wall, build a door here in case you have to escape. I mean, there's no way you're escaping, right? Because you know he's got knights.
Yeah, that's why I didn't waste the wood anymore there.
But I
know
mean,
I would
at
lose
least
all of that.
try. At least try, right? You can play around with your villagers. Maybe just, I know. Just try, because otherwise, if you don't do so, like you lost 3 or 4 villagers here waiting for these guys in the tower to leave their position and get in the tower themselves. Okay, minute 17, close to 18. I'm taking a look at the villager numbers here. It's minute 17. This guy has missed out on a lot of villager cycles here. And that's why you're so ahead, because you lost 14 villagers and you're still 11 villagers ahead. But the more you improve and the higher elo you get, people are never gonna forget to produce villagers. They're never gonna idle their TC, so that difference will not be that much. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know how he got such a few villagers, because he ended up with 3 TCs. I don't know how he lost so many.
Well, people are going for 2, 3 TC and not produce from them. Okay, how do we micro this? Important. How do we micro this? We're running an infantry comp of archers, spearmen, and archers. So first things first, I have to divide my units into different control groups. If I can manage 3 control groups, fair enough. If I can't, just 2. Okay. Now my spearmen want to be protecting my archers. Okay, they don't want to be running in circles chasing those knights. They want to be here within my archer group. Okay. Now my archers are going to be focusing his archers. Once his archers are dead, or there are only a few archers left, then I can abandon my position with the spearmen and chase those knights. But only when that happens. Before that, my spearmen have to be within my archer group. They don't leave position. They don't abandon their position here. They act as a shield. Okay, remember my words. They act as a shield. They don't chase down knights. They remain together with the archers. Okay, you have a lot of gold, which is, you shouldn't have so much gold, but it's good that you have a lot. Why is that? 30 villagers on gold. Maybe you have to redistribute your economy, right? Think about your next steps. You're running out of food. You have literally 0 villagers on food. Okay? And you're spamming villagers from triple TC. You're going to need a lot of food. Now, what are your food sources? You got no more sheep. Barely no berries. You do have some berries from the landmark, but that's about it. You should start thinking about moving some villagers onto a different food source. Maybe these berries, maybe some deer up north here. And if you're completely surrounded and you can't leave your base, then you have to rush the wood line. Okay, send every villager that comes out of your TCs, send those villagers onto the wood line, get as much wood as you can, and start transitioning to farms. Okay, but that's like the last thing you want to do. Before that, you want to go for berries, you want to go for deer. Also, if you're floating so much gold and you're in need of food, you can always drop a market and buy some food. Okay, don't be afraid to do that. I hit castle, good job. Instantly, as soon as I hit castle, all my upgrades, okay? All of my upgrades. Veteran spearmen, veteran archers, okay?
Yeah. Always, and also eco.
Okay.
Eco upgrades.
Okay.
I just like you said, I sent everything for wood so I can start building a lot of farms for food.
But you still have berries here, and you have deer here. So you can slowly be adding some farms, but you can also take those deer. Those deer are 2.5k food. Okay. I mean, at this point, if he hasn't killed you, it's pretty difficult for him to win the game. Also, I told you to focus his archers with your archers, but you're playing against JD. Once you hit castle, you want to start producing crossbowmen, which you're not doing. You want to start producing crossbowmen, and with those crossbowmen, together with your Janissaries, you will have to snipe JD. You won't be able to do that with spearmen nor archers. Okay,
Yeah,
that was a bad move.
yeah, I lost the mangonels like an idiot there. There he tries to raid my farms.
Also, when sitting on a triple CC like you are, just don't be afraid. If you lose a few villagers here and there, don't be afraid. It doesn't really matter, okay? As long as you can keep those TC alive and warranty your food sources, then you're more than fine. I mean, it's better if you don't lose any villagers, right? But don't get scared if you lose like 3 or 4 or 5 villagers on one of these raids. I'm sitting on a triple TC. I'm more than fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, I simply try to send them to TCs in order to protect as many as possible.
Okay. Now, as Ottoman, your ultimate army comp is going to be Sipahi and Janissaries. Okay, that's your army comp. That's going to be your, and obviously Great Bombards, but that those come later on in Imperial Age. But now you can start actually transitioning to that army comp. You can add some spearmen if you like, but Janissaries and Sipahi have no fucking counter. Like, that's the best army comp in the game.
I swear I did not know that. I only saw a clip from Ozzy Drongo where he did the man-at-arms to sit in front of Janissaries and spam Janissaries a lot in the back, plus the mangonels, plus the bombards, and I thought it's a good comp I could use in this situation as well, because the Cav, I know they die really fast to Janissaries, and the man-at-arms die really hard to the archers.
Always, if you wonder what army comp should I go for, always think about what your opponent is producing. If your opponent in this case is JD and he's producing archers and knights, what are the counters to archers and knights from an Ottoman point of view? You could go for spearmen, but not the greatest option since he's got JD, and JD is just going to melt your spearmen. You can go for Janissaries, awesome counter unit to knights, Cav in general. And then I also need a counter for archers, right? What's a counter for archers? Is it men at arms? I mean, they do well, but it's not the real counter. The real counter to archers are Sipahi, okay?
You're right,
so
you're right.
Sipahi counter his archers, my Janissaries counter his knights. And actually, Janissaries just are so good, they just wreck everything. Especially when played together with a meter that has attack speed. You don't really want to go for melee armor here. You want to go for either attack speed or range armor, okay?
I have some of them on the attack speed, some
No,
of them on
they
the
don't
melee
stack.
armor.
They don't stack.
No?
No, they don't stack.
I was dumb. I thought they stack.
No, they don't stack. Otherwise, it would.
So dumb.
Those meter would be
I'm so
literally
fucking
OP.
How bad I am. I thought they stack, man, I swear.
Oh.
And imagine I was always trying to keep them 2 on armor, 2 on attack speed.
What do you
Make
say?
sure that
That Ottomans, so meters influence, aura of influence to not stack. Like, it's not like you can have Q on one, W on another one, and E on another one, on a different one. No, they don't stack. So whichever is first is the one that remains. The one that every meter is going to be running, even though you have you got different auras on each of them. Okay. Now Ottomans act as, or Ottoman's army acts as a death ball. Actually, it's like it reminds me of Protoss from StarCraft 2. The way you want to play this, since you haven't gone for knights or Sipahi early on, it's not like you're playing a very proactive game here. You know, trying to find some raids, some villager kills, denying some resource. No, you went on for a more defensive approach, which is fine, totally fine. Now, once you have that death ball ready, you have to push slowly, okay? What do we need to do before we start pushing out? Because we're moving with a very slow army. We have to make sure that our base is protected, okay? So I might need to start adding walls here and there, okay? Maybe stone walls if I can. It's better to go for some stone walls. At least try to cover one of the sides of the map and focus my opponent's attention and my own attention on either the middle or the other side of the map. Okay, but you can't really leave base without being secured. Okay? Because if it happens that he raids and you're sitting on 200 pop like you're about to be, you will have to drag part of your army back to defend, and they're fucking infantry. They move very slow, so by the time your guys get to base, a lot of villagers might have fallen, okay?
Yeah, you're extremely right.
So before we move out with the death ball, we make sure that we have...
In this situation, I was forced, now that I've seen he's building the Imperial castle, I thought that I cannot simply move forth and back and protect my vills, so I simply went with the death ball all in, and I was pretty sure that I can kill all of his landmarks faster than he can kill mine, because on my base I was still producing a lot of units, and with 3 TCs I thought that I can cover them, the landmarks, and defend them for long enough that I can kill his landmarks.
Okay, even if that's true, you only want to do a base trade when you're behind. You never want to do a base trade when you're ahead, okay? Because there are more chances of you winning the game by playing it normal than at base trading. So you build a stone wall here, just build that little one, okay? And protect your farms. If you have to push with the death ball, then make sure that you have your economy secured. Now in this situation, obviously you're not going to turn around, because this is what we were saying before. By the time your army gets back home, I mean, these guys have had quite of a big party here. Okay, so it's fine for you to keep pushing here. But you do never want to be... Oh my god, what a disaster. What a disaster. Okay, the only reason why you won this game, well, actually, yeah, you're pretty lucky. Like this guy, I mean, you got quite of a death bolt, but look at the build graph, 52 to 109. You took a very, very big risk here, base trading. GG's. Okay. Any questions that you have? I think your gameplay, like overall, your gameplay has improved. Just a couple things here and there that we've covered throughout this session that you should focus on, like not going straight away for second TC, especially if I'm delaying it because I'm opening military school and I'm going for also like other buildings in between. Just note that if I'm spending my time on getting resources and not producing military units, especially when facing a very aggressive civ like JD or Mongols, my opponent is probably going to be making military units, so I'm not going to be able to defend. Okay, I've been gathering resources for a second TC, and he's been producing military units. Now, where am I going to place my second TC? I would love to place it on a food source, but I'm not going to be able to do that because I don't have units. So, playing as Ottomans, I would suggest you open normal, sitting on 1 TC, adding a second military school, going for some Sipahi. This against every civ, okay? And later on, if you're banking a little bit of stone, or even if you actually are gathering stone in purpose because you want to go for a second TC, then later on go for that second TC, but not right away.
Yeah, pretty much from what I've seen and from what I understand from you, every time you're explaining not only Ottomans, but
YS
if the
Atlas
civ
37.
is bad in feudal,
Hi,
it's not
Talk
only
Pikachu.
Ottomans, it's also bees and many others. I shouldn't go second TC unless I've reached castle and I have a little bit of army with which either I am aggressive to the opponent and I keep his focus on his base, or I can protect my base with it and I can build a second TC, but only after castle age, right?
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be in castle. This last game that I played with Byzantines, I added that second TC in feudal. But look, just take Marine Lord as an example. Marine Lord, one of the greatest players at the moment, one of the best players. He rarely goes for that second TC right away. He produces a lot of units, and once he feels like he's put enough pressure, that his economy is secured, that his opponent is not going to attack, then he goes for that second TC. And he always does it, or most of the time does it like that. It is like you're taking less amount of risk if you're securing your economy first and then going for a second TC. You can add it in feudal, you can add it in castle age. There's not a rule of when to fight, when to get military units. Like, you should get them like throughout the game. Like, in